let's talk about Andy Marx. So you're right about the quality of the work. He's got a kind of a unique signature in the black and whites. You see this contrast, and if you know his work, you can immediately recognize it as his. And for me, as an art dealer, a curator, one of the things I'm attracted to about Andy Marx's work, like Bruce Helander or Mark Tansey or Nicky Carson, it's highly crafted, but there's a smart, dry, intellectual wit. There's a wink and a nod in most of the work. So what's going on in this picture right here, Andy had an exhibit of his photography in Europe, and this is one of the photographs in it. And a common thing that you'll see is artists will come and paint work in an exhibition. So here's someone who just happened to look like the subject of the picture, who came here, set up his easel, and began doing painting of Andy Marx's photograph. So this is an Andy Marx photograph of an artist doing a painting of an Andy Marx photograph. This is his son, Ethan, and Ethan was playing a teenage DJ in a film that his wife, Terry, was producing. And this is just right near the set, a walking trail on a college campus that happened to have this picture of Picasso just there. And it's just, you know, the right moment with the right guy having a camera. And it looks so staged, but none of his work is. This work over here is one of my favorites because it takes a moment to really see all the layers in this picture. And the first thing I notice is, you know, front and center in the foreground, this strong woman. She's got these really athletic big calves. Like she could break this guy in half. And then I look and I see, you know, here's the man's hand right here. And look at this hand right here. It's just, you know, a fantastic, perfect compositional moment. But the other crazy cool thing is this kind of Jesus James Franco looking guy right here disappearing behind the wall, you know, underneath this picture of her. It's just so David Lynch, weird, interesting, and funny. And you've got this vignette over here, a completely separate event. And this little girl sitting here like Captain Kirk on the bridge, scowling at them. There's just so many things going on in this one picture, and really in all of his pictures. You know, this one, at first glance, sort of reminds you of that famous Norman Rockwell at the lunch counter, but you know, just, you know, asses in seats. And if you look at the board here, the menu, well-groomed, pick of the litter, dog bite. It's just, it's cool, it's funny. And this shot, Times Square, we all know it, but you know, as a composition, as an image, it's so multi-layered, it's so interesting, there's so much going on. And then the Martini portraits, Martinis I have known around the world.
Right. How long will the exhibit be up here?
These will be up. We'll have some of the work up, you know, through the summer. The exhibition also continues at my gallery at 433 Flamingo Drive, 2 blocks south of the Norton Museum. So here and there ad infinitum. I'm Paul Fisher from paulfishergallery.com. Hi, I'm Paul Fisher. This is my exhibition space at the Brazilian Court in Palm Beach, Florida. I'm here with my star, Andy Marx, and this exhibition is of his photography, including his series of Martini portraits, which will be featured in the new Andy Marx book, Andy Marx.
Andy Marx. Hey, Andy.
Martini time.
Hey.
50 nights of the world's greatest drink.
So, tell us where you came in from California.
I did come in.
And
are my arms tired? Yeah, no. Yes, I came in.
So notice there are a lot of martini glasses in here. So tell me a little bit about your work and then what captured you to get into photography to begin with.
I was reading the people.
I mean, I'm assuming you come out of a film industry family.
Well, it's funny. Funny thing is, I actually was a writer for many. I was a journalist, and I was a writer, and I never really was that into photography. And I used to say, yeah, I'm not really visually oriented. I can write, and then I don't know. I think when my kids I have 18-year-old twins now, and when they were born, so it was like 20 years ago. It was right before they were born. I said, I think I want to start learning how to take photographs. So that was kind of it.
Wow.
And I never shot film, only digital. I mean, I shot film when I was younger, but I never seriously did it. And it mostly work in digital.
Now, what kind of camera? I noticed you have a kind of a little tiny little special camera.
Yeah, but it's a wonderful. Well, I have two cameras. When I'm doing my actual commercial, really like portrait work for magazines and newspapers and things, and I'm in a studio, then I use a Canon 5D Mark III. Mm-hmm. And then when I'm doing my street photography, basically all of these are shot with the Fuji X100F, which is probably one of the greatest cameras ever made. And it's just great.
So how do you like Palm Beach?
Love Palm Beach.
Have you been here before?
Love Florida. I've never been there. I've been to Miami and a few other places. Been to Captiva Island and places like that, but I've never been here. Actually, I was at Robert Rauschenberg's house.
On Captiva?
Captiva, yes. And got some very big mosquito bites. But I've never been here, but I do love it.
So tell me a little about this particular exhibit that you put together with Paul for this show,
Well,
Brazilian Court. Just tell me a little bit about
Well, most of the photos, I mean, other than the Martini, I got into the Martini thing, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, and most of those are actually shot on an iPhone because I don't carry my camera around usually at night when I'm going out to dinner, and you can shoot a picture that is good enough, and so when I go out, if I go to a place that has an interesting Martini or something, or the way it looks, I'll shoot it. Everything else is sort of one of these things where I kind of set myself down quickly and try to get shots off of people. I don't pose anything. Everything is just kind of as it happens. There's one over there. I know you don't want to flip around, but I just really look for that special moment where something is happening and I got to shoot that.
So you mentioned this is basically all digital photography from
Yeah.
the time you started.
Yeah.
Your photos have a very unique textural, almost a development process look, where as an artist it looks like you're mixing chemicals different, or you're getting a very deep sense of almost sepia within your black and white. Tell me a little bit about what is there development? Is there Photoshop processing?
I think I don't do much stuff in Photoshop. I do a little bit of color correcting and stuff in another thing called Lightroom, and I have a few little sort of techniques that I use. But I think my thing, and other people have said this about that it's sort of the contrasty black and white is kind of what I look for. And really honestly, I don't really. I mean, I know all the technical stuff about taking a photograph, and I've studied and all that, but I don't really care that much about it. I really am more interested in what the picture looks like. And if I could do it with an iPhone, I would, but most of the time you can't. And so that's why I carry a camera around. But to me, it's the composition, and that's the whole thing.
So thanks for talking to us today.
Okay, you're
We're
welcome.
Try and come over to the studio
Good.
and talk a little bit more
Okay,
about
good.
that. I mean, you're from.
Okay.
Have you lived in California your whole life?
I have pretty much, yes. Yes, actually my whole life.
Is there? I mean, your grandfather was very famous.
Yes, he
Without going
was.
into the whole Marx Brothers thing, was there something unique about your grandfather that you remember?
Yeah, actually what I remember about him is that when I was growing up, it was during his sort of retirement phase. You bet your life had ended, and the whole sort of Groucho Marx becoming an idol in the 70s had not happened. So I kind of had this period growing up in the 60s of like 12 years where he was just a regular grandfather, and I wasn't really that aware of what he had done. So it was kind of cool. He was just a regular guy.